Hey everyone, it's Victoria with She's Gone Country Farms. It's a little dreary today. It's going to rain eventually, although it could just keep missing us. Every time it's going to get close, it just dissipates and nothing happens. So I ended up feeding the plants here just a few minutes ago some fish fertilizer, and I thought I would show everyone a couple of the things that I've discovered. And by things, I mean ginormous tomatoes. How can I get a good video of showing you just how amazingly huge this is? Hold on, bear with me. Well, I guess it's hard to tell the level of gigantic that this thing is, but trust me when I tell you, it's gigantic. So let's take a look at everything else. As you can see, all the Romas are doing great. I'm still not sure what these are. I read some of the packets of tomatoes that I planted that were a little different. One of them was a rainbow variety, and basically it was just a whole bunch of different types of tomatoes. I'm starting to think this is how it should be, a little bit redder, but that this is what this is going to look like. Because one of them was some kind of a zebra tomato. I guess I'm going to pull this one off the vine and check it out and see what it tastes like, see if it seems like it's good. I put up a trellis for my round 2 of cucumbers that I planted. In this container, I also planted some parsnip. It'll be close, but hopefully I can get some, one batch or even just a few, to be able to make some soup stock. In here, I did the round 1 of carrots. Next weekend, I will plant some more over in these containers. I love doing my carrots in containers. I always have. I've had great success with doing it this way. So I figure, why fix something that's not broken? The sugar snap peas that I planted for Bonnie are coming up. I need to get the trellis up for these. I haven't planted these raspberry bushes that I got on clearance. Most of you watched the video on that. And that is just because it was still so hot. I didn't want to plant them while it was a blazing hot inferno, because the likelihood of that damaging my plants is very high. So I am better off just leaving them in these smaller containers, keeping them nicely watered, out of the midday sun when it's really hot, and then transplanting them when it cools off a little bit, which should hopefully be next weekend. Got these peppers. My hot Hungarian wax peppers this year have been fantastic, and they are one of my favorites. This is a poinsettia pepper. Now that everything is starting to come up, I can tell what everything is after the whole tragedy of the first greenhouse. As most of you know, I had no idea what a good majority of my plants were this year. I just saved what I could, nothing had labels, and went from there. These are obviously Romas. I think these are a big boy tomato, now that it started. Oh my goodness, the gnats out here are really just wonderful. Hopefully you all caught the sarcasm in that. At first I thought that this was an Armana orange, but I don't know now, because this one that looks kind of red, we'll see what's going on with that. My lemongrass is going crazy. I believe these are serranos. I'm going to kind of backtrack here for just a second. This is one of the types. I did a couple different types of pepperoncinis. I can't wait to pickle those. Some plain old jalapenos. This ghost pepper is not seeming to like being planted in the ground. It's okay. It's not doing horribly. There's tons of peppers on it. But I'll show you the one in the back that's in the container, and that one's just fantastic. My experiment in the container for the beans has been going well. These are, and I have so many of these and I'm almost bummed about it. These are a Thai chili pepper. They're finally starting to turn red. It's not that I don't mind them, it's just that so many of these survived, whereas some of the other ones I was looking forward to did not, so it's just kind of a bummer. The poblanos, I actually have a bunch of these. I am going to stuff them with, I'm going to make tuna fish or chicken salad and stuff them and eat them for lunch. Moving on, more jalapenos. Fling over to this side. This is definitely the Abe Lincolns. And then these are, I know these are the Armana Orange. I actually had tagged these. This was around 2 after the first greenhouse flew away. So let's talk though quickly about something really brilliant I did. Again, sarcasm. I put the tags on these popsicle sticks. So as you can see, with all the rain, it washed it away. I just wasn't thinking. But I suppose if every year you learn a little something in the garden, it's a good year, right? Lesson learned. And now hopefully you all can learn from my mistakes. Don't do your tags on a popsicle stick. And that was with permanent marker. Here are some more of the pepperoncinis. 3 different pepperoncini plants. Looking good. This is one of the habaneros that didn't die during the first greenhouse extravaganza. It's a save. More jalapenos and another poinsettia. On the other side of me is another row of Romas. I won't show you those because I want to get to the good stuff. These 2 are the ghost peppers that are in these containers. These have been going like crazy. And they are just kicking out some really wonderful ghost peppers. I've already done 2 batches of hot peppers in the dehydrator this year. I don't know why this keeps unfocusing. Another row of my tomatoes. Yeah, see, here's another one like that. Oh my goodness, these bugs. I really think that these are supposed to have this green striping. The only cherry tomato that lived. They're really good. I know it's not quite ripe, but I'm going to eat it anyway. Why? Because I can. So good. So we talked last video about saving money in the garden. I wanted to show you this. This is my spearmint. When I got this spearmint for, I think it was 10 cents, I know it was less than a quarter because I got 5 different plants for less than $1. It was like this big and dead and horrible. Put it in the ground or in my container. This container has, the soil is just really amended because it just, when you have it in the container, it just loses its nutrition, if you will, so easily because it's not going to pull from the ground from different sections. You just have this one area, so you really have to make sure that you keep the containers well fed. Anyhow, I've been picking off of this and adding it to my tea with my lemon balm. It's going bonkers, considering it was like literally a couple sprigs. Couple more beans. So here's a funny thing. You can see the stump of it. I'm going to call it a stump because it was huge. So when I started this container, I had put in the beans. I threw this as an after fact, and my birdhouse squash. I also put in some flowers. So when this was growing, and it was, mind you, like, it was all the way up to here, which, let me give you, up to here, which was really tall, okay? I was like, oh, what kind of flower is that? Why isn't it blooming? Well, it wasn't blooming because it was a weed. So I pulled them out. So ridiculous. I hadn't planted the flowers before. I had no idea. I really just had no idea. So anywho, another mistake I made. Why not share the mistakes too? Gardens aren't perfect. It's not all this perfect showcase, magazine worthy, voila, and it just looks like that. And I think sometimes with people doing garden tours or doing some of their YouTube's pages or videos or vlogs, if you don't get into the stuff that went badly or the things that die, the things you had a hard time with, it gives people a misconception. And then when they go to garden and they don't have everything work out right, then they get discouraged. And so I think it's really important to talk about some of the things that went wrong, like my greenhouse flying away, like me planting something and leaving it in until it's dang near 6 feet tall to discover it was a weed. Just things like that. Me not trellising things on time, and so it's hanging over the side. I mean, that's just the reality of gardening, for me at least. I have a full-time job, I have a house to maintain, and so things get forgotten about, or things just, I'm not 24/7 in the garden, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But I'd say things still look wonderful. So if you're a new gardener after that long-winded story, it was just to say, don't get discouraged over something that doesn't look like the latest video that you watched. They started out someplace, they have a section of their garden that isn't perfect, they just didn't show you. This is going to be my beets that I planted, starts of my fall garden. I left these beans up because the Asian beetles or the Japanese beetles were going to town on it and leaving everything else alone. So I just left it be. I figured, fine, whatever, eat these and leave everything else alone. Plus the beans weren't doing anything. Well, it seems like now they're going to finally start. So we'll see what happens with this. I'm glad I left it up. And do you guys remember these puny little pepper plants? When I put them in, they were like, what? Maybe 2 inches tall. Look at these now. This is all a bunch of different types of habaneros. Chocolate, lemon, orange, red. I had got a variety pack of habanero seeds. And then there's some basil in here. This is actually some basil. Peppers like to be planted next to basil. Tomatoes and peppers do well. I strongly suggest taking a look at companion gardening. It's a thing. It really is a thing. Give you a little view from this side. Oh, I forgot to show you. This is my lemon balm. That's going crazy too. Today I also tore down my original cucumber plants that I had here, and then I planted some snap peas. So that's going to be part of the fall garden. So far for fall, I've done some peas, beets, radishes, carrots, and parsnips. I've got more to do. Oh, last thing I want to show you guys. So I have a mole problem. I decided if you can't beat them, join them, which doesn't mean I'm digging holes and trudging around in them in the garden. But it does mean that I'm going to use the soil that they have ever so kindly made into a very perfect, fine, gardenable area. I mean, they do wonders to the soil. They make it perfect. There's no clumps. It's just perfect, like sand. So I decided to plant some bunch onions in this one and over here. And then another one, I planted another round of zinnias, which are officially my favorite flower to grow ever. So this is what I've got going on in my garden. Just wanted to give everyone a quick tour. And as usual, everyone, happy gardening.